of my favorite things about college football is the way that sometimes you have like a first round draft pick get matched up against like a future project manager or something, and that's when the magic happens.
That's when the magic happens. That's true. We'll have
Sometimes Jonah Coleman just runs over a guy and it's great. Sometimes
I
Demond Williams Jr. just runs over a guy and it's great.
get before we get to that. I don't know if we've decided. I kind of like Doghouse.
Mm.
Uh, what was the full one in the Doghouse? Something about a doghouse.
I think just Doghouse with a capital W.
That might look weird on titles. We'll
That's
figure it out.
true.
We're gonna work on
The
our
problem is we don't want to pick a name that somebody else already has.
no, we had our whole Mariner Mondays fiasco, and then the guy never made a Mariner video again. Anyway, um, I guess bullying does work. Yeah, this is gonna be CSS's UW football podcast show, whatever, as my friend Jake here is dressed as Columbo. Um, yeah, no, we've been doing the Husky football thing this year. Haven't been able to get a show together. Much like we haven't been able to do our um Circling the Nest Seattle Seahawks show. We just recorded that. Um, bye week for the Seahawks. Almost would have been argued it was a bye week for the Huskies as they handled the Fighting Illini. Not much of a fight. Uh,
No,
42-25 victory that probably should have been like 42-10. Um, after a couple questionable flags helped Illinois um, keep two drives alive. One should have been an interception for Takario Davis. The other should have been an interception for Michaela Steen. Davis did
yeah,
get one later in the game to kind of seal it. Um,
but yeah,
but
no.
Washington,
There's a very similar timeline to ours where this is a 56-10 game.
yeah. Um, and they handled number previously 23rd ranked Illinois for their sixth win of the season. They're bowl eligible.
Hmm.
6-2 on the year going into their second bye week of the season. That always messes me up. Um, they do have four games remaining. I always forget that in college we have to wait for the game times. So Wisconsin, Purdue, UCLA, Oregon are all still to be determined. Two even split for the remaining four, two on the road, Wisconsin and UCLA, two at home, Purdue, and of course the big matchup against Oregon to close out the regular season.
Hmm.
Uh, I guess before we get into Illinois, because this one, I mean, there's not too much even to look at with Illinois besides the double pass. We both
Yes,
love the
we
double
will get
pass.
we will get there.
Um, not a ton that surprises me, I guess. About well, no, I guess there's one surprise, and I'll talk about that. That surprised me about the season, right? Colorado State, uh, Jay Norvell coached them to a good record last year. They put up a decent fight. I mean, this wasn't like a runaway game from the start, right, Jay? 38-21 in the end.
Yeah.
Um, things have unfortunately kind of unraveled for the Rams, but we are not a Rams podcast. UC Davis, he beat him by 60. Uh, I mean, they're a decent FCS team. They're not bad. You win the Apple Cup by a score of 59-24. You were kind of neck and neck for a while. I mean,
And then I think State just lost control of themselves. They just started giving the ball away. I think they were trying to force something to happen
mm,
after giving up the lead. But yeah, it was score for score for a long time. And then they made something happen, gave away the ball too much, and they got dealt to ass.
that was, with a rivalry, and it's still a rivalry as much as there's frustration about the Big Ten and realignment on both sides of things. The teams still dislike each other. That's still a thing.
Yes, yes.
Um,
And you have to run up the score in a rivalry in college football.
mhm.
This college
It's like
football is the
mandated.
white hot rage dimension. You have
White
to do
hot.
it.
It's
I
pretty
mean, did
good.
you see what Utah did to Colorado last night?
Mm-mm.
Oh, brother. It was a remarkable spanking.
Oh,
Yeah. They like we're up 40 nothing and we're still playing like no huddle hustle ball. to try to run up the score even more. I bet they're mad as hell that Colorado got that fourth quarter touchdown to make it 53-7.
Mm, yeah, Jesus. Okay. Yeah, I did not notice that. Yeah, no, it's like legal mandate that you have to run up the score in college
Hmm.
football against your rival. Um, the Ohio State game's tough. Um,
It's kind of
you
the
know, you're
opposite of the Washington State game, where it was close for a very long time,
yes,
and then we started giving the ball away and lost control, and it kind of spiraled out at the end.
that Jeremiah Smith touchdown. Uh, I think right before the half, made things a little bit. I mean, you go into the half trailing 7-3. It's not the worst thing against the top team in the nation, as
Hmm.
good as they are. Great atmosphere all day long. Um, you know, but then that fourth quarter things kind of get away from you. You're going into the fourth down by 8 because you only got the two field goals. Ohio State gets the two touchdowns.
Hmm.
Um,
They kept
that
uh, they kept Jonah Coleman from breaking away the whole game, and kind
yeah,
of forced Damon Williams to try to make something happen through the air, and were able to capitalize on that. They're a good team. The Ohio State Buckeyes are a good football team.
I
But
would
like
be
a
not
twenty-four to
surprised if
six is a
they
very respectable school score.
yeah. Well, especially when you probably should have been closer if you didn't do the fake field goal. Um, he didn't go for the fake field goal. I totally forgot about that.
Oh my
Uh,
God. Yeah, wow. My life
yeah,
flashed before my eyes just then.
uh, yeah, could have been closer there, but to put up a fight like that against the top team in the nation, you know, by no means was Washington wiped around. The next week, through the first half of that Maryland game, I was a bit concerned
It was
because
not pretty against the Terps.
no, you're going into I don't know why I sound like a smoker there. You're going into the fourth quarter trailing 20-3. And I think I was at the ballpark. I think the Mariners played that day, and I was kind of like, oh boy, all right, like bad loss, not a great way to respond after again, as we just talked about, push the top team in the nation, and then you score 21 points in the
Yeah.
fourth quarter, naturally, right? Um, Fun to see. Maryland's not a bad team, Rutgers, same day as game 5 of the ALDS. You were able to get this monstrous performance out of Damon Williams Jr., 400 passing yards, 136 rushing yards, against one of the better names in college football, Ethan
Hmm.
Kaliakmanis. uh, you know, Big third quarter. This one also wasn't super great at half. You give up
Yeah.
the 10-point first quarter, you're going to the half trailing by 3, and then the 21-point third kind of helps you put this game to bed.
I
I
mean, the
think,
Huskies are one of those teams that they can go into a halftime and they can come out and make the adjustments. I know halftime adjustment is like a big kind of cliche, and most of the time, the players aren't thinking about that. They're taking a shower or eating or pooping or something, right? Um, but the coaching staff is making that adjustment.
yeah,
And they come out there with a different game plan that our opening scripted drive for both halves for the Huskies typically results in points. Um, and they're very good at coming out of the half and taking care of business, which they even had to do yesterday against the
yeah,
Illinois Fighting Illini, where
mm,
at the half they took the lead barely, but it wasn't like a dominant performance in the first half until they came out at the end and just you know squeezed Illinois through a little wine press, basically.
yeah, yeah. It's a wine press.
Do they
Yeah,
make wine in
no,
Illinois? I don't know what they got going on up there.
yeah, I've never been. No, it's a lie. I was in Illinois very briefly. Um,
Would you have a layover in
I
O'Hare?
no, I was in Chicago for a few days.
Hmm.
Chicago. Went to see
Chicago.
the Wrigley Field, actually, the 206 seat
Huh.
section. I said, oh, 206. I know that number. Uh,
Uh,
that's from Wrigley Field. Anyway, I
Sure.
was gonna say I think the Michigan game might be the most frustrating of them.
Yeah, that's
You
a winnable
know,
football game for sure.
there's a winnable football game. You go into the half tied at 7. You talk about the adjustment, and they've done a great job of that. I think obviously in sports generally it's about adjustments, but in football, with the different sides on offense and defense, adjustments are so big, right?
Hmm.
Um,
And see, that was one of the ones where the scripted drive didn't pay off. It was a three and out.
mhm. And just things kind of fall apart in that fourth quarter. Damon Williams, I think the stat was one of his first career multi-interception game.
Hmm.
Um, just
Right
some
at the end
tough
of the third.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great. I don't think Washington did super great against the physicality of the Wolverines, which is tough. I mean, that's unfortunately was one of the storylines of the national championship game a few years ago.
Hmm.
Which is what were we saying about the Iowa offensive linemen? Just corn fed, these big boys.
Yeah.
Different weight class in a way. Certainly a winnable game, tough one. Not easy to go into Michigan and win anyway.
Yeah.
Uh,
Into
and
Big
yeah,
House.
this is true. Uh, but then to come out against Illinois, I mean, against a ranked opponent, the first time you played a ranked opponent since Ohio State. Um, in this game again, the two touchdowns they got, their last two touchdowns for Illinois, the Fighting Illini, is Jake was not like, um, like this game was a blowout. This game felt like a blowout. You know, it did not at all feel like this was a game that Washington didn't have control of, especially coming out in the first quarter. The two Desmond Roebuck, the double 13-yard reception touchdowns for Desmond Roebuck from Damon Williams Jr. Um, the second
Yeah.
quarter was not great. I did not like that.
No.
Uh, excuse me. The Huskies haven't started games hot really on the offensive side of the ball. Uh, Besides the first few, right, against Colorado State and UC Davis. Um, but I mean, they get the two first quarter touchdowns, and I feel good. I said, okay, this is nice. And then, not so great in the second quarter, but you still go into the halftime break leading 21-17. Kind of a middling third quarter, and you're able to get 14 in the fourth to really pull away and put this one to bed. Luke Altmaier, I've heard a lot about him throughout the year for Illinois. Didn't look great. Washington was able to create some disruption. Probably should have had 4 picks on the day against the Husky defense. Only ended up with 2. He was also their leading rusher, like, with
Hmm.
48 yards on the ground, which is interesting to me, just because the I think it's Caden Fagan. Yeah, Caden Fagan, their running back, is huge for Illinois. He's 6'3", 250. That running back. That is a large boy. Um, was kind of surprised they maybe didn't go to the well a little bit there. But yeah, this game was fun. I mean, 4 touchdowns for Demond, the double pass for Denzel Boston to cap things off. Jonah Coleman, 75 yards on the ground. Not bad, but he had the, I think, 29-yarder. Yeah, the 29-yarder that really put things away. Demond had 66 on the ground, including the 25-yarder that Jake referenced with him running over Miles Scott, the defensive back for Illinois. Jed Fish said afterwards, he kind of joked. He was asked if he likes seeing that sort of thing, and he said yes, but no, but yes, but no. Like, I'm sure he enjoyed his quarterback showing the competitive nature, but also, like, obviously they want to keep him healthy. Um, Denzel had a career day, 10 receptions, 153 yards receiving for Mr. Boston. Um,
That's the guy.
Mr.
Denzel Boston
Boston,
game.
South Hill, Washington guy. Oh no, Rashawn Clark and Takario Davis with the interceptions. Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know, I was right. Because McKellisteen had one taken away. That's right.
Yes.
Um,
Which. Mm, mm, mm. Um, referees do not think that quarterbacks are real football players.
yeah, is well, it's interesting being in the stadium too and hearing how loud the booing was.
Hmm.
Pretty, like, for a few minutes afterwards, they were very upset at
Yeah.
Husky Stadium, and just
And
even
again, after Illinois scored that touchdown, after
oh yeah,
the
I
Both
think it
times
even,
after the interceptions were called back. But yeah, the second time the booing was
excuse me.
sustained.
Oh yeah, it's just I think even a little bit of it lasted into the following kickoff after
Yes.
Illinois scored that second one. Yeah, and even just talking to some of the other media folks there yesterday, everyone kind of was in unison that hey, that was bad. That was very bad. Um, as I told Jake before we started, someone found out that the I think the head official was a former Pac-12 ref, so it kind of fit the whole Pac-12 official, Pac-12 ref slander there. So, um, as I asked you on Circling the Nest, Jake, how are you feeling about this Huskies team through 8 games of the year at their second bye week of the season? Now with 4 games to go. Oh, yes.
Go dogs, baby. Um, I think that they probably have to take care of business against their next four games, like we were talking about earlier. That last game against Oregon, that's I think if you win that game, you are in the playoffs. And I think that the Huskies are like have a good shot. To be fair, I haven't watched very much Oregon football this year.
Mm.
Um, maybe I should start spying on them, see what they're up to. But I mean, that's the game you have circled from day one. It's that in Ohio State, and you lost Ohio State in kind of heartbreaking fashion. You've got to go out there and you've got to beat Oregon. You've got to, make a feast of the Ducks. Um, you, I'm feeling very positive about this Huskies team going into these next three games, especially Wisconsin, Purdue, and UCLA. None of those are particularly competitive teams, and I mean that's reflected in the ESPN lists like ticket pricing for each of the next four games. And for Wisconsin and Purdue, it's 16 and 14. UCLA, it's $37, and that's in California. And then versus Oregon here at home is $118 lowest. So I think that kind of reflects the importance, and I think also the competitiveness of these next games. Ideally, right? Ideally, the Dogs go out there and they prove that their bite's as big as their bark, and they don't chase their own tail. Um, I mean, as long as you force the opposing defense to try to focus on one player, you have those other options to go to. If, Boston gets shut down, you have Coleman to go to. You typically talk about the run game opening up the passing game, but I think a lot of times this also works in reverse for the Huskies, where the passing game will open up with the run game, especially for Damon Williams Jr. himself, who has been a fantastic rusher. I mean, against Rutgers, he picked up nearly 150 yards on the ground. He had a great play yesterday on third and long where he picked up all of it on the ground himself, including trucking over an Illinois defender. I think this is a very potent team on offense, especially, and I think the defense can lock in. Let's see. I mean, Oregon has scored a lot of points in all of their games, so that's going to be a real test for the Washington defense. Um, and boy, Oregon's defense is also very good. That's going to be like the game. You can ask me again how I feel about it as it comes up, but for right now, I'm feeling great for the Dogs. Hop, 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 hop. Bark, bark.
Kind of similar to the Seahawks, right? Where, well, I think in their respective league, Washington's offense is more exciting. Getting to watch the dynamic ability of Demond week in, week out is very
Hmm.
entertaining. Jonah hasn't, continued the success level of the first few weeks.
Which I mean, that's
Obviously,
to be expected.
yeah, with the numbers he was putting up, the 4 touchdown games, right? But still a very quality back for you. And as you mentioned, yeah, you're able to open things up. You weren't able to get anything going super consistently against Ohio State or Michigan, which made things tough, right? And you
Hmm.
have dealt with injuries along the offensive line. Carver Willis uh, missed some time, but was back. Let yesterday kind of I wouldn't say he was on a snap count, but he didn't play every snap. There, Washington did rotate a little bit. Um, John Mills and his beautiful blonde hair have missed some time as well. He had a heavy brace and some tape on his ankle. I think it was his left ankle. He also kind of
Mm.
seemed like it was on a snap count. So, it's interesting to also compare how things went last year when we're scrambling to put a team together um, after Kalen DeBoer left this program in shambles. Uh, and now this is the second year you've got some foundation. The biggest thing I heard at the media event they did ahead of training camp was it was continuity and feeling settled in, as opposed to last year where a bunch of these guys who have transferred or the coaching staff who's come here with Jed Fish from Arizona are just trying to figure out where the hell they're living, right?
Hmm.
Um, Obviously that we're a long time from then, but yeah, the offense has just been so fun to watch with Denzel Boston, a guy who I think goes in the first few rounds of the draft. Desmond
Yeah,
Roebuck with 2 touchdowns last game, and even I think
some
uh,
crazy catches.
it's and he's a freshman, you
Yeah,
know,
a true
to to
freshman.
to see that, um, to I think I guess you should look at the roster itself. Um, you know, Desmond Roebuck, Raiden Vinesbright has moments here and there. Omari Evans, who's a transfer from Penn State, hasn't done a ton. Rashid Williams has been hurt. Chris Lawson's another freshman. And the tight end position's been interesting. Decker DeGraff, I really liked Decker DeGraff last year. He's had his moments. What was it, Jake? He had a touchdown yesterday, if I remember correctly. Um,
DeGraff, yes. He had a
yeah,
weird play early on in the game where he dropped a little
the third down.
throw, yeah, on third down, and then that led to a convert or failed conversion led to a punt. The only Huskies punt of the day that actually was completed. Um,
Yeah. Oh yes.
Running into the kicker penalty, notwithstanding in the fourth quarter. But he did get a little touchdown at the end on basically the same route, which that's a nice little coaching moment I think
Oh
there from Jed Fish to let him get a second try at that catch, and this time he made it and he scored a touchdown. It's a great little bounce back for him, great little kind of morale booster. And I think especially it's good because the team was up so high at that point that you have the I guess luxury to go out there and do that for your guys to let them kind of wash off the misplay, and that's something that Fish talks a lot about in his press conferences is that they have like a 24-hour rule. You forget the bad stuff very quickly and
yeah.
move on for the next game. And I think it's a good mentality that's been working pretty well for the Huskies, especially after last week's rough loss in Michigan.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like because you mentioned the drop pass on third down, but also I remember there was the pop pass to Jordan Washington earlier in the game, and it was a DeGraff holding penalty that called it back. So it was not the greatest first half for Decker.
Yeah.
But yeah, nice to you mentioned the coaching moment. It's a good point. Come back and say, hey, we're gonna need you. Let's give you another try at it and to get that going.
Hmm.
Um,
Very Danielsonian, who he'll do that to
oh
for these
yes,
pitchers. After they blow up, they'll get an easy inning later.
Carlos Vargas. Uh, Largy.
Carlos
Um,
Farkas.
wow.
Sorry.
What was I gonna say? It's been interesting too to see how the team is. We talk about injuries with the Seahawks, the side of the ball on defense. Washington had Tariq Alukta, Buddha Alukta, as he's known, the transfer from Washington State, come in this year, and he gets hurt and out for the season relatively earlier into the year. He only able to total 9 tackles. Wait, no, 15 tackles, 9 solo tackles. Sorry. Jacob Manu can only play one more game before he has to redshirt. So they're trying to figure that out. There's been the whole legal thing with college sports and I think it's what the 4 or 5 years. Um, you didn't have him yesterday. And you're able to win pretty handily. Um, oh, interesting. It's funny seeing the tackles list, and Decker DeGraff has 2 tackles listed on here. Decker DeGraff doing it on both sides. So it's interesting seeing how they've dealt with injuries. They've lost a few guys for the season, but still, it's been a good year. It's been a good year for Washington. Um, I get it's funny here, like trying to reference the different things, we talked about with the Seahawks show, and it's like we don't really have a trade deadline to look at here. Um, I guess what's the biggest thing you're looking at? It's simple. It's not simple. It's funny because I feel like it is similar, but what would you want to see Washington do differently in these next 4 games? Because, and I say that because they haven't really run the ball super well the last in Big Ten play, you
Hmm.
know. But against some of these weaker teams that you're going to face, like Wisconsin and like Purdue, I don't know how I feel right now about UCLA. Again, they've kind of had that resurgence. They got mollywopped by, Indiana, but
Yeah.
Indiana's looked like a good team all year. What do you want to see from Washington going forward, coming out of the bye week? Because again, as you mentioned, their path to the college football playoffs does exist.
Hmm. I think yeah, like you kind of implied, it does come down to getting Jonah Coleman to be more successful as a rusher. Run the ball. It's a good strategy in general, and
Retweet.
I think the Big Ten saw his first few weeks and kind of locked in and said, "We must destroy that man." To the fact that they have allowed Damon Williams Jr. to just run wild over them, which is extremely fun. And so, kind of in a strategic level, right, the run game and the threat of Jonah Coleman has opened up the passing game for Desmond Roebuck and Denzel Boston.
Mm-hmm.
We've got these 3 guys whose names all start with DE, and it's like trying to organize them properly in your head before they come out and you start saying Damon Boston and Denzel Williams.
Come on, Boston.
Which
Desmond Boston.
now that I've said those out loud, I'm going to think those for a long time. So I've kind of ruined myself there.
Man.
But no, I beyond that, like I'd like to see some more energy on defense, maybe. But like that's kind of would be nice. The defense has been pretty good. I'm feeling good about this Huskies team. I don't think they necessarily need to take huge steps forwards in the next 3 weeks. And we will see how they're poised before the Oregon game. I'd like Oregon to kind of suffer in
Mm,
one of their upcoming matchups, ideally against their big game against USC,
mm.
right before the Huskies game. That would be important for Washington. I mean, that's the game, right? I mean, you have to go out and you have to take care of Wisconsin tomorrow, who were just uh, thoroughly manhandled by Oregon. Maybe you can hope for some transitive property magic, and if you can score more
Yeah,
than 3 touchdowns against Wisconsin, that means you're better than Oregon because Oregon only scored 3.
there you go.
There
I
you
know.
go.
I'm surprised that game wasn't. Uh, you know, there were more than a few blowouts yesterday. Um, Kind of wondering uh, what that was about, or if it was just a good game plan for Wisconsin. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, there's not the offense has been just so electric. I
Yeah,
think maybe the only thing on defense, you talk about energy, maybe looking at the pass rush a little bit.
yeah.
Because they've got a good secondary with Takario Davis and
That's kind of the weird
Fushion's
thing. Yeah,
Prisak.
that's kind of the weird thing yesterday was that there were no quarterback sacks.
Yeah, that you know what I mean. And then that's an Illinois team that I know that they're ranked, but you want to pressure the quarterback, right? They did.
Well, they're not ranked anymore. Which
Yeah,
and that's I
Washington.
told you that was going to happen. I said
You did.
that the committee was going to look at this and they're going to unrank Illinois rather than rank Washington. And that's what they did. They unranked Illinois, and Washington still remains unranked, which I do think is something approaching a travesty.
They saw Washington beat Illinois pretty handily. They said, "Cool, bro. Illinois." Yeah.
Oh, Illinois must be bad rather than Washington
Yes.
is good.
Well, it just
Uh,
goes. You wonder if people are actually watching from you. Some committee are actually watching these games because I'm sure if you don't
oh, they're
watch the
watching
Ohio
SEC.
State game,
Yeah,
they're like, oh, they got beaten pretty,
it's a
convincingly.
two-score game. Like let's not
Yeah.
totally lose our minds over it.
So yeah, it is interesting to see that play out week by week. Washington effectively with the votes that they got this past week were ranked like 28th, 29th. If you do that, obviously that doesn't give them a number next to their name.
Hmm.
Um, but I guess it's nice to know that they're moving closer. The problem is, I don't know how much like they say they do handle business, right? The next 2 weeks against
Yeah,
Wisconsin and Purdue. I don't know how much that moves the needle for this committee, right? They'll
it
probably be
doesn't.
like,
Well,
no,
you're
they'll
expected to
probably
do that.
yeah, they'll probably hang around like 26th. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, I gotta get off of Pro Football Focus.
you
AP
need you need USC to get unranked again to fall down. Louisville's up there.
Trojans.
I mean,
Um,
this is extremely funny. We shouldn't just do like a AP poll podcast, but it's very funny to have Oklahoma above Texas when Texas just pulled down the Sooners' pants and smacked their butt around a little bit during the
they
Red River
dropped
Showdown.
5. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, Washington received 46 votes. Navy 86. Tulane 59. Sorry. Well,
Sweet.
LSU's unranked. That's crazy. Uh, interesting. That was the AP poll. The coaches poll. Washington received 60 votes. Interesting. Okay. Um, yeah, that's pretty good. Anything we haven't done one of these yet? Anything we didn't touch on that you want to mention before we get out of here?
Uh, go Dogs. What do they put Dubs in for the Oregon game? Like, what does he wear?
Ooh, well, it's a good. Oh yeah, because they're at home. I don't know. That's a good question. Give him a little like hunter's vest or something.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, put him in like dressing like the Duck Hunt dog.
Mhm. Ah, see, now you're cooking.
Yeah, there you
Columbo
go.
is cooking is not a sentence I thought I would say today.
Just one more thing. Uh, yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I see. This is kind of funny because I don't have too much discourse to provoke about the Huskies because they've 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 just gone out and done it. And when they've lost, they were like in control of those losses. Does that make any
Yeah,
sense? Because like the Michigan one, it's those two interceptions in the third quarter when you're trying to make magic happen. And against Ohio State, it's falling apart a little bit and kind of I guess the stamina really got to them because Ohio State was playing very fast and very aggressive all day.
yeah, you've got
Uh,
talent everywhere.
yeah. But no, I think this is a great Huskies team. Um, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do in Wisconsin after this bye week. I think this bye week's at a great time as well.
Yeah,
Um,
it's it's an interesting time for the program,
mhm.
because Kalen DeBoer leaves. You're kind of trying to figure out what the hell. Uh, you get Jed Fish in here. It's funny you had I already forgot his name. The one athletic director for like a few months brings in Fish, and then he's gone. Troy Dannon, yeah, Troy Dannon was here like a few months. Um, excuse me. He's in Nebraska now. Okay, got it. Yeah, that was how long did this last? October 2023 was named the AD. Big transition. They oh get Fish. Um, he was. named the AD for Nebraska in March of 24. Yeah, so he was here for a few months, but he said out of here. Anyway, Jed Fish comes in, brings over a bunch of his Arizona guys. They've done pretty well on the recruiting trail. Not super great, but it does feel like things are in a great. Um, it's nice to have like an actual, uh, trajectory because
Yeah,
after DeBoer left, it's like, okay, what the hell is going to happen? What do you do? Where are we going with this? So I don't know. Good state of the program, and definitely, as you mentioned, that their future is in front of them. They handle business, set up a big game against Oregon at home to end the year. You know, and it'll be interesting to see how they match up against Oregon. Ryan Walters, the defensive coordinator, will have his hands full
hmm
trying to figure that out. As you mentioned, they put up a ton of points this year. I wasn't sure how Dante Moore would be at quarterback. I thought he would be fraudulent. I thought the trajectory of Ducks quarterbacks after Dylan Gabriel was just going to continue going down. Um, they look real,
yeah.
but it's a rivalry game. I'm talking about with the Wazoo game. It's a rivalry game. I, you know, wouldn't put anything crazy past it. So yeah,
It's gonna be intense. And it's gonna be loud.
mm, my eardrums.
Mm.
Well, it's funny I say that because our photographer Eric actually, who was there yesterday, said that he needs to start bringing earplugs because it does get that loud on the field.
Yeah.
Uh, so,
Well, there's those overhangs. It's the same thing as Lumen.
oh yeah,
That just reflect the sound down back, which
the
it's great.
architecture.
Seattle.
Mhm.
I love
So
Seattle sports. I love
get a
circling Seattle
roof.
sports.
Wow, it's crazy. And show that I need to figure out the name of before we upload it. So until we see you next time, take care of yourselves, be well. Maybe dress as Columbo. Who knows? Um,
I gotta tell you, it feels great.
do whatever you can to make today a great day.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, how about them Huskies?
Ooh, purple and gold, baby.
Yeah. When are you going to watch all those away games, though?
All those away games. There are a lot of them, and I was hoping to come to Rough and Tumble because this is the home of Circling Seattle Sports. If that's okay with you.
I think that's a great idea. Hope to see you all here.